Hey there hunters, Lord here, back with yet another Monster Hunter Wild set video. In this series, we've been covering endgame sets for each of the 14 weapon types. Today's video is going to cover bow, so if you are not a bow main or if you like to dabble in other weapons, be sure to subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos so that way you can see different sets for each of these weapon types. With that being said, today's sets are endgame sets, and like you might have seen in the title, after my intro plays, all of the footage, all of the sets, all of the decorations, weapons, etc. will all be from Hunter rank 40 and beyond. So if you're not yet to that point, or you're just trying to avoid spoilers till you've had a chance to see it all for yourself, definitely save this video to watch later when you're actually ready to make endgame sets. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump straight into the video. Before we jump into the sets, I want to cover our weapons. So as far as bow goes, just like in previous games, it still loves its element. So we'll be looking for the highest elemental options, which are of course the rarity 8 Ardian weapons. Ideally, what you'll want to do is get 4 element rolls, and then an affinity roll is ideal for that 5th spot. But really don't beat yourself up over it if you don't get it. Just getting 4 elemental rolls on a weapon is hard enough. However, I've had some dumb luck, and when crafting my Ardian bows, I had 2 back-to-back that on the first try gave me 4 element rolls, so I've been pretty lucky. However, over on Charge Blade, when I was trying to roll elements, it took me over 60 element charge blades built and destroyed before I got one with 4 elemental rolls, so it can take a while, don't get discouraged. Honestly though, the 4 element rolls is ideal, but with just 3 you will have more element than every single craftable bow in the game. The Yankatku bow comes with 300 element, and all of the others are somewhere in the 200s or even lower, so that is why we are rocking with Ardian for these sets. Now, normally I don't do this till the end of the video, but if you do find yourself enjoying these sets, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Again, I am doing a series where we're covering endgame sets just like this for all 14 weapon types. I also do all sorts of different guides, tutorials, and informative videos about things you might not have known about the Monster Hunter games, especially Wilds now having freshly released. And the best way to make sure you stay in the know about all of those things is to be subscribed. Also, a little bit more housekeeping before we jump into the sets. I'm going to be showing you guys 4 different sets today, and honestly, they are all extremely close in damage. I did some mock testing on the training dummy, and these guys are literally within about 5% of each other. And since none of these sets hit for 100% crit, I think we can chalk that difference up to the critical chance. I mean, sometimes when you're shooting, that 25% crit is going to feel like 50, and sometimes 80% crit is going to feel like 40. It's all just kind of random, so really you can just pick whichever of these sets you like the most and go ahead and give it a try. With that said, my good friends over at the Monster Hunter Wilds Hub have been working tirelessly on updating their set builder with all the new information. There's still a few things that are missing, but these guys need a chance to play the game for themselves, and so we will be using their set builder to showcase the first 2 sets, as I really think the set builder has a lot of potential. And just having a tool this good within a couple days of the game fully releasing is kind of something we haven't really had before. And so I want to show them some support. I'll be sure to leave a link to them down in the description if you want to go over there and use that tool to build some sets for yourself. So our first set is a standard 4-piece Gore Magala set bonus. Of course, for the weapon, we're going to be looking at Ardian weapons, and don't get too married to the decos. I put a bunch of different decos into each of these builds, just that way you can see that no matter what your decoration collection looks like, you will be able to make a very solid bow build. Ideally though, what you will want is a frost / something jewel, then a spread jewel, and then any combination of a crit element jewel or a bandolier jewel or a normal shots up jewel. Really, it's up to you. Again, it's going to be a very minimal difference, plus or minus 5%. Not enough to really care about. None of us guys are going out here and speed running. And if you are speedrunning, you probably have built your own sets anyway. As far as the armor goes, the head is the Gore Helm Beta slotted in with a Phoenix Jewel. The chest is the Gore Mail Alpha with the second Phoenix Jewel. The arms are the Guardian Ebony Braces Beta with a Refresh Jewel. The waist is the Gore Coil Alpha with a Chain Jewel. The legs are the fourth and final piece of Gore Magala with the Greaves Beta. Then you will need a chain jewel and a physique jewel. The shockproof jewel is just for multiplayer, so if you're not playing multiplayer, you can totally leave that out. And the charm is the chain charm too. Now, as far as the shockproof jewel and the other 3 empty level 1 jewels go, these are totally up to your choice. You can throw in whatever you want. If I leave a slot empty in any of these sets, it basically means it's up to you. Go crazy with it. So before we get into the skills, let's go ahead and talk about the armor set bonus of Gore Magala's Tyranny. With 4 pieces of Gore armor, we get Black Eclipse 2. This just means that anytime we're in combat with a large monster, we will be inflicted with the Frenzy. While we have the Frenzy active, we get plus 10 raw attack. But once we clear the Frenzy, there are a few things that happen. Firstly, when coupled with antivirus, we get plus 25% crit, but this also allows us to activate Coalescence level 3, which gives us plus 15% of our weapon's base element as extra elemental attack. This is a super nice skill to have, and it couples in nicely with Burst and our element attack up, in order for us to hit some of the highest elemental values possible on bow at this stage of Monster Hunter Wild's life cycle. Now, as far as the other skills go, we have Burst at level 5. This gives us 10 extra raw attack, but more importantly, it gives us 120 extra element. We then have Ice Attack in our weapon. Again, the example is an Ice Bow, but if you're running a Fire Bow, Dragon Bow, whatever, you'll want that specific attack up. Then Tetrad Shot is pretty nice. Again, the Bandolier Jewel gives us Tetrad Shot at level 3, so when we are using coatings, our 4th and 6th shots will have extra damage, and the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th shot will have some extra crit. I don't think this is as good as going for something like a normal shot up jewel or maybe even crit element. However, I was just kind of testing it out, thought it was pretty fun, so I went ahead and threw it in here. Again, I promise this is the last time I'll say it, but the only thing you really need is your element attack up, and I would highly recommend the spread jewel because the power volleys are your hardest hitting bow attacks during your normal combo, so not including Dragon Piercer or 1000 Dragons, and this boosts them by 5%. We already talked about Coalescence and Antivirus. We then have Constitution level 3. This couples in nicely with Stamina Surge to allow us to dash dance for a little bit longer. I really like Ballistics on bow. It gives you a little bit of extra range, so that's why I went with these / precise jewels in the weapon, but you certainly don't have to. Then all the other skills either come on the armor or are my choice in decorations. Moving on to the second set, again, we will be keeping with the Ardean bows, but I did change up the decos a little bit this time. Instead of the Bandolier Precise Jewel, I threw in a Force Shot Jewel. This gives us 5% damage on our normal R2 shots with bow. The head is the Guardian Fulgurhelm Beta with a Phoenix Jewel slotted in. The chest is the Goremail Alpha with a Chain Jewel. The Guardian Ebony Braces Beta go on the arms, and you get a Phoenix and Physique Jewel here. Then the Gore Coil Alpha has a Chain Jewel and Sane Jewel. And the Guardian Fulgur Greaves Beta get the Final Refresh Jewel. And again, shockproof for multiplayer. If you're not playing multiplayer, throw it out and put something else in. And of course, the Chain Charm too. Now, I personally like this set a lot more than the first set, and that is because of a few reasons that I will touch on now. So with 2 pieces of the Guardian Fulgur Anjanath, we get a skill called Second Wind 1, and this gives us a little bit of an extra stamina bar, little baby stamina bar poking out from the end of our main stamina bar, and this is about 1 extra dodge per stamina bar. This doesn't seem like a lot, but these pieces are super efficient for both damage and stamina management, so we'd probably use them anyway, and having 1 extra dodge per stamina bar to try and get your perfect dodge to get your stamina back up might save your life, you never know. With the 2 piece of Gore Magala armor, we drop down to Black Eclipse 1. This means we do not get the bonus 10 or 15 damage when having or clearing the Frenzy, but it still makes us frenzied when in combat, and allows us to clear it for that 25% crit when coupled with the extra 15% from antivirus, and allows us to activate Coalescence, again for that 15% extra element. We have Burst level 5, again, same reasons as the last set. Element attack, you gotta have it on bow. Constitution 3 is great, and Stamina Surge 2 is ideal. We also get some Agitator from the Guardian Fulgur Helmet, which just gives us some extra damage, some extra crit. Not super useful, but hey, extra damage when you can get it is always nice. Then of course, spread and normal shots up for 5% extra damage on our R2 and circle shots. Again, and I do promise this is the last time I'll say it, you can swap out the 4-shot jewel for something like crit element if you really want to, but this set doesn't have a ton of crit, so I don't think you'll get much use out of that. However, we will touch more on that with our last set. But with this set being done, let's go ahead and move into our third set, which is based around the same exact thing as that second set. However, we have opted for Partbreaker 3 in this set instead. So, as per usual, Artian Weapon, Gore Helmet and Chest Beta, Guardian Ebony Braces Beta, the Guardian Fulgur Waist and Legs Beta, and the Chain Charm 2. For decorations in the head, you'll need a Chain Jewel and whatever level 1 decoration you like. In the chest slots a second Chain Jewel and our first Physique Jewel. In 3 of our 4 level 2 slots, you'll want to put in Partbreaker Jewels, and in the last one, you'll want a Phoenix Jewel. Then in the last 2 remaining level 1 slots, you'll want those Physique Jewels to get us to Constitution 3. Again, this set and its skills look pretty identical to the last one, but instead of Antivirus 3, we have swapped around some of the armor pieces to get Partbreaker 3. This is because Bow's Focus Strike is really, really good, and you're going to want to be using it a lot, and Partbreaker 3 makes Focus Strikes deal 30% more damage. So if you find yourself spamming Focus Strikes all the time, then you may want to opt for this set instead of the previous set. Our final set actually came as a little bit of a surprise to me. I was just testing it out to make sure that I didn't miss anything, and this set's damage is actually right on par with those Gore sets using Coalescence, so I wanted to go ahead and share it with you guys. We're going to be rocking the Guardian Ebony Beta Head and Arms, the Arc Vulcan Beta Chest and Waist, the Udra Myregreaves Beta, and the Exploiter Charm 2. For decorations, again, I threw in 1 Destroyer Jewel for extra 10% damage on Focus Strikes, but you can really throw in whatever you want. You need a Chain Jewel and a Refresh Jewel in the chest, a Refresh and Physique Jewel in the arms, then 2 more Physique Jewels in your remaining 3 level 1 slots, and then the last level 3 slot is really up to you, but I like a Throttle Jewel. It gives us 10% extra crit and 30% stamina reduction. Stamina reduction is always good, so I figured why not toss it in here. We'll get the extra crit just for funsies. And all in all, this set actually hits pretty hard. I'm kind of a fan. Between Weakness Exploit, Latent Power, and our 15% Artian Weapon, we have around 75% crit, so crit element is actually a little bit better here. We then, of course, still have Burst 5, Constitution 3, Stam Search 2, all the same stuff that you know and love from the previous sets. We also have 2 new set bonuses. They're not new, but they're new for this video's purposes. We have Burst Boost 1 with 2 pieces of Ebony Adilgron armor. This gives us just an additional 3 attack when we have Burst active, taking us from +10 at level 5 to +13. Again, Bo doesn't love Raw that much, but it's nice to have, and we want it for Burst 5, so we might as well take what we can get. And then with the 2 pieces of the Arc Vulcan armor, we get Hasten Recovery level 1, and after hitting the monster so many times in a row, you'll get a tiny little chunk of health back. It's not much, but again, like I've said in all my set videos prior to this one, the armor pieces are good enough we'd use them even if we didn't get this, and so we might as well just take a little bit of extra health in the background. Like you've heard me say before, these 4 sets are extremely close in damage as far as the training dummy goes. That might vary when headed out into the actual quests where monsters have variable hit zone values. So for me, my personal favorite set is the Guardian Anjanath and Gore combo. Either the one with Partbreaker or without, I think they're both great. When I'm really feeling like dragon piercing the hell out of a monster, I bring the Partbreaker one to get those juicy focus strikes. Otherwise, I bring the other one. Really, it's up to you though, because you will not feel much of a difference in your quest times by switching between any of these 4 sets. Honestly, where the monster spawns and how often it chooses to switch areas, or if any other monsters show up and cause turf wars, will cause more variation in your quest times than using a different one of these 4 sets. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I spent a lot of time working on this one for you guys, so if you did find it helpful, be sure to drop a like down below. It supports the video and the channel completely for free. If you're new to my channel, new to Monster Hunter, or if you enjoyed this set video and you want to see more just like it, as well as all sorts of guides, tutorials, and information about Monster Hunter Wilds, then definitely consider subscribing to the channel. My goal is to hit 30,000 subs by the end of this month, and I would really appreciate it if you would help me on the way. With all that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I wish you all a good day and happy hunting.